Welcome back everyone to another episode of the board game Bambinos, and welcome to Jurassic Park. Danger, that is. Yes, you heard that correct. This is a Jurassic Park board game.
You crazy son of a bitch, you did.
As for our first review, this game is another love child of Universal and Ravensburger Inc.
Get ready to run with the dinosaurs and work together to escape the chaos that has been unleashed on the small island.
The game is a great homage to the franchise with the use of iconic characters from the original film, as well as locations that can be visited on the board.
The game combines the thrill of dinosaurs versus humans, as every move must be strategic and well thought out if one wants to successfully win the game.
The game players are split into two groups, humans versus dinosaurs. One player will be given the role of playing as three of the film's most notorious prehistoric predators.
This player's goal is to successfully track down and kill at least 3 human players in order to win the game.
The dinosaurs can kill a human player by simply moving that player's space. They move according to cards that can be played to determine what movements the dinosaurs have at their disposal each play phase.
As for the story's heroes, the human players have their own set of worries to conquer on top of extinct giant lizards trying to eat them.
The goal of the human survivors is simple: get enough people to the helicopter and escape the island.
How to make this escape possible is not necessarily as simple.
Each human character has a combination of individual as well as team tasks that must be completed for the helicopter to be summoned so players can begin making a dash to safety.
Individual tasks differ depending on the character. Once a character can complete their required task, they gain their designated token to show completion.
The team-based task involves the activation of 3 main locations throughout the map. The activation of each location requires a human player to be within the space and the luck of rolling a 5 or higher with the dice.
All 3 locations are required to be activated in order to summon the helicopter for escape. On top of that, the activation of a location also grants the human players that location's special reward.
For example, activation of the maintenance shed gives the human players the option of turning on all of the park's electric fences, creating more obstacles for the dinosaurs to have to navigate around, but creating possible complications for their teammates.
Once again, this shows the importance of working through your strategy with your human player friends.
Human characters also have their own unique card hands that are used throughout the game to determine player moves, but also have free actions that can be utilized to help other players or accomplish tasks as needed.
Navigating the island can have its own set of unique challenges, as different sections of the board has fences and rock climbing areas that can only be crossed if the human or dinosaur players use a climb card.
The dinosaurs can climb these obstacles immediately, but human players are required to roll a certain amount for the move to be considered successful.
Human players can also use sneak cards, which require the correct roll of the dice as well. This gives players the ability to place their character into sneaking, making them hidden from dinosaur attacks.
Watch out though, the dinos can sneak as well, stalking and surprising their prey.
Clever girl.
As mentioned before, the dinosaur player moves throughout the board by activating movement cards of their own.
Each phase, the dinosaurs can activate one special ability to help increase their chances of homing in on their victim.
When a dino attacks, the player gets to select one card at random from their victim's hands to be burned. If a human character runs out of cards, they are out of the game.
Each time a human character dies, the player can draw a random another character and place them on the field. This has a chilling resemblance to the classic film, as not all characters are bound to survive and escape Jurassic Park.
Ah, this is a clever one. Now that you've been given the quick tour around the park, let's dive into our review and final thoughts.
So I'll start by saying that once again, love Jurassic Park, love the movies. So this was definitely one I had to try out, especially since I've never seen a board game based off of the Jurassic Park movies. So that was very intriguing and interesting. But I also really enjoyed the fact that in this game, different from our first review, where your monsters kind of move independently according to the game rules. In this game, I think it's actually interesting because you actually have a player that plays the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So you've kind of got two different strategies going on.
It's a whole new element.
You've got the team base where you've got the humans kind of trying to work together. And in this game, you really need to work together because there's so much to accomplish to be able to escape that trying to do it yourself is just not going to happen. Like, you need to work together, whether that's you split up in the beginning or whether you try to move together and help each other. But I also like the fact that, it's got a difference in strategy. Everybody's trying to think through when you're working with your human player friends. The dinosaur person's listening to your moves as well, so they're planning ahead on how they're going to make their next move. So it really kind of makes it intense. On top of that, the fact that, not every character that's on the board is necessarily going to survive the game.
Right.
So it kind of makes you think through, like, who are you willing to sacrifice, because every character has their own certain abilities and things that they can be utilized for better than other characters. And like, for example, like one of the when we played through it, at one point you actually sacrificed one of your characters to help another teammate, so you kind of have that versatility, but it also creates a lot of tension too. Who's going to go, what's going to be the best solution without costing us the game, right? So
No, I agree. I think that the dinosaurs actually have quite a bit. They have a very big advantage, but they are also outnumbered as well.
Right.
Which, I mean, makes sense. For me, it was a game. My main talking point would be the learning curve to it. Although it's a rather simplistic game, it's a game that you probably would need more than one round to really get the hang of how it works.
There's a lot of different things going on in the game. That's the thing it's kind of hard to keep up with, is remembering all the different available movements and things you can do, and all the different aspects of how are you actually trying to get to the finish line. And even just the characters, like, for example, you've got to not only collect a token for every character, but then you've also got to move around the map and actually go to these separate locations and activate them. So there's so much going on top of trying to evade dinosaurs and survive, right? Or coming across areas that maybe are difficult to cross and hoping you get the luck of the roll and you can actually climb the rocks or get over the fence. I also like the ability to kind of change the board throughout the game. For example, like I mentioned earlier, say if you get to the maintenance shed, you can activate the electric fences. You don't have to, but you have that option. So I thought it was,
which there's obvious pros and cons to doing that. So once you analyze
when we were
the board.
playing it, you were on the human team and you guys were discussing, you were really kind of debating, like, do we want to turn all these fences on because it could stop the dinosaur player from moving around, but you also recognize you could create issues that you guys are going to have trouble moving.
It could hinder our progression.
So, like, you actually really have to think out, is this the right move, or do we need to leave the fences off? That's just an example, but I like that ability because it makes each game different, I think, too. The outcome can be very different. Even the way the board's set up, the board is actually almost like a puzzle piece. You've got these different sections tiles you piece together, and you don't have to set them up the exact same way.
Right.
You can kind of change the outline of the board so that's almost like the island's different every time you're moving on it. You got different obstacles and things. So I like that. I like replayability in games, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that. And again, that being said, although I thought the learning curve initially was kind of steep, once we kind of started getting into the meat of the game, and it became a little bit more natural to play, I definitely think it would be a game that's great for like a game night. I wouldn't recommend it for if you're having like a drinking night and just trying to play something fun. Granted, once you get good at it, maybe throw it in the mix. But for the most part, it's definitely a fun game. I can definitely say that.
Yeah, and like I said, you can play as pretty much every iconic character from the original film. So that's kind of fun, and like I said before, not everybody makes it to the end of the game, not all the characters. So it almost makes you kind of like, I know when I first started playing it, I was tempted to want to pick out what characters I liked first, the ones I liked the most. But then I realized, I was like, it kind of made me want to pick different characters at the beginning, because it's like, they may not survive all the way to the end, so maybe I'll save them
play on
later.
you a little bit,
right? So it kind of makes you think through it. But I think it's kind of makes that creates an intensity to the game, right? You know what I'm saying? You just never know what's going to happen next, and so definitely I enjoyed it. I think it takes a little bit longer to learn, but once you get it, I mean, you can pretty much play game after game, and you'll know what you're doing, and it's pretty fun. I mean, the game itself, how it plays, is actually fun and enjoyable. It's not it's not so complicated. You're like trying to decipher how you're going to win this. It's pretty straightforward. It's just remembering all the different steps. And we played it with 3 people, and I definitely think it was a game that at least I'd say at least 4 or more.
I agree.
Would really make the dynamic better. I think it was a little bit harder with 3 people because you're just so limited. But I think having a larger group of humans on the field, because your dinosaur player already automatically gets 3 different dinosaurs they can move around. As you're just moving one person at a time. So I think it's better to have a lot more people. You get a lot more. Everybody can split up on the island and kind of go and do different tasks to help try to get everybody to escape. So that's my thoughts on it. But I definitely liked the game. I thought it was very fun. Definitely replayable.
Absolutely.
I give it a thumbs up. I like it. I like Jurassic Park. So
that helps out.
Definitely. I like dinosaurs, so
yeah.
That's a plus. So
no, I agree. I give it a thumbs up as well. Like I said, it's a game that has a little bit steeper of a learning curve, but the value there, as far as fun and replayability, is 100% there. I definitely couldn't. I definitely would recommend it. I would give it a thumbs up as well.
All right, folks, there you have it. That's Jurassic Park Danger. Be sure to check it out in the link below.